I'm Yamiche Alcindor, the White House correspondent for PBS NewsHour. I'm so excited to be with you this morning for the Samaritan Ministry of Greater Washington's Next Step Breakfast. As a reporter, I often want to be focused on being a voice for the voiceless, and those values line right up with the values of Samaritan Ministry of Greater Washington. This is a group focused on bringing together our neighbors who face poverty, unemployment, homelessness, and other challenges. And they're doing this while focusing on compassion, community, and dignity, all things that have come into focus over the last year as some of the most important parts of our society. So that's why I'm so excited to continue this relationship between Samaritan Ministry and public media. NewsHour anchor Judy Woodruff, NewsHour Capitol Hill correspondent Lisa Desjardins, and radio host Kojo Namdi are just some of the folks who have partnered with Samaritan Ministry. I was initially supposed to be joining you all for a Next Step Breakfast in March 2020. But as we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic upended life as we know it. Now, a year into the pandemic, as so many people continue to struggle and face evictions and job losses and economic stress, it is even more important to support the work of Samaritan Ministry to help those in need. I want to thank today our corporate sponsors, Buckley Law Firm, Mortgage Bankers Association, Sandy Spring Bank, and J. Mallon Photos and Video. Their generosity covers the cost of today's event so that all the gifts and commitments, that's right, all of them received today are exclusively supporting Samaritan Ministry's work. And with that, I'd like to introduce the Reverend Canon Leonard Hamilton, Canon Missioner from the Washington National Cathedral. Washington National Cathedral is a huge partner church in Samaritan's Ministry's partner council, which Canon Hamilton has championed. Canon Hamilton will invite a blessing on our time together this morning.
Good morning. I am thankful for this opportunity to join with everyone at Samaritan Ministry at this Next Step Breakfast, and privileged to have this opportunity to pray together and encourage one another in such a worthy cause and moment. So won't you join me in a word of prayer? Almighty, we come and are so ever grateful for your presence with us, your love towards us. And we're thankful that we're even able to gather together in such a time like this, and even through a medium such as this. And so as we recognize that you are with us, we thank you for the opportunity for you to work through us, that in our giving, in our serving, in our collective work together, we might touch the lives of each and every one who is standing in the need today. So we thank you for the work that has been done. We thank you for the work that will be done. And we thank you for the vision that has been set forward by the leaders and by the gatherers. And so bless all that will take place on this day and through the work of gathering and giving this morning, that we might see the transformation of lives. We might see the lifting of families and communities. We might see truly the type of work that some might call miraculous, but that we know is work that comes through the love that you have for us and the love that we extend towards each other. So now in these moments and during this time together, we ask that you would cover us, keep us, hold us, and that we might be filled, that we might do all of the work that you have prepared for us. So we ask your blessings upon us on this day. This we ask in your wonderful name. Amen.
Now, before I introduce our first speaker, I'd like to invite Development Director Jeff Hale to say a word about the different ways we can support Samaritan today in light of our virtual platform.
Thank you, Yamiche. A quick aside, I can't believe I have this opportunity to work with you today after having been a fan of your work on the NewsHour for so long. Good morning, everyone. My job this morning is to explain to you all the different ways that you can support us today. And don't worry, we have several of them. But I want you to know I'm not going to do that now. I just want you to know that I'll be back later to tell you all about it, and you'll have opportunities to work with your table captains after the program. For now, please, just sit back, relax, and enjoy. Back to you, Yamiche.
And now I would like to introduce Reverend David B. Wolf, Executive Director of Samaritan Ministry of Greater Washington. He has served as Executive Director for 8 years and is an ordained Episcopal priest serving churches in the district and Paterson, New Jersey. He describes himself as a recovering Washington lawyer, working for a time for the Justice Department under former Attorney General Janet Reno, working largely on immigration policy. He was also a Senate staffer for the late Senator Ted Kennedy. His passion, he says, is creating opportunity for otherwise disempowered folks, typically in the urban environment, to discover and realize their own power to grow and become the people God created them to be. He says this makes Samaritan a sweet spot for him, given its focus on partnership for transformational change. David lives in Silver Spring, Maryland, with his wife Martha. Together, they are the adoptive parents to their sons Jason and George.
Thank you so much, Yamiche. As Yamiche said, I'm David Wolf, Executive Director of Samaritan Ministry of Greater Washington, and I'm delighted that you joined us for our first ever online Next Step Breakfast, wherever you are. I'm especially delighted if you're hearing about Samaritan Ministry for the first time today, to learn who we are, what we do, and where we're going. Why? Because we love learners. We love people willing to participate in their own change. People stuck inside themselves who can't find a way out. People struggling to find meaningful work or an affordable home. People who, from the Good Samaritan gospel story, are stuck in the ditch of life and just need a hand up. The ditch may come from a bad break, a bad choice, bad public policy, the socioeconomic segregation of Greater Washington, or all of the above. But none of that matters when a participant sits down with a Samaritan Ministry caseworker. Then the only questions that matter are, if you want a better life, what would that look like? Are you ready to change, and will you participate in that change by accepting the coaching required to achieve your own goals and take the necessary next steps to meet them? If you answer yes to all those confronting questions, then our staff will give you all the coaching, all the support, all the follow-up you need for as long as you need it, just because you said yes. Now I say you, and some of you are thinking, he doesn't mean me, he means the participants, you know, the clients who are stuck in the ditch. But who are we kidding? Who among us has not been stuck? You see, what our participants receive in the Next Step program is what we all need to receive from some source. We call it rigorous compassion, but it's really two things. On the one hand, material support and encouragement. On the other hand, challenge and accountability. It's what your spouse or your coach or your colleague or your pastor or your best friend says that you would rather not hear. It's the truth in love, my friends. Rigorous compassion is a gift from someone we trust that empowers us to grow. And Samaritan Ministry offers that gift to folks who typically have no trustworthy person in their life to offer it. That is, until they come through our doors. Doors that are in 5 locations, but now 5 locations in one big virtual space, courtesy of a remarkable 2020 programming pivot at Samaritan Ministry. For more than a year, this virtual space has delivered online Strive job training, telephonic coaching, and in-person support on the front porches of our main offices. With hybrid options coming later this year, we expect to engage and equip even more participants for this brave new world. especially the unemployed and underemployed, returning citizens, workers over 50, and those living with AIDS. Next, you'll hear Next Step participant Ben Morgan tell his story of re-engaging us, taking not just one tour of duty at Samaritan, but now two. Ben's commitment to achieving certain lifelong goals suggests his desire for meaning and purpose, not just sustainability. Ben's commitment, cultivated by rigorous coaching from Samaritan caseworkers, not only has propelled him to pursue his vocational vision, but also to write a book to share his story, just published last September. But there's another ingredient in our human empowerment recipe, because when we invite a participant into Next Step, we also invite ourselves. A quote that's been on my office door since our earliest day reads, "If you have come to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come because your liberation is bound up in mine, then let us work together." Over 35 years later, that wisdom still speaks to who we are and the change work that we're all about, practicing partnership on all levels. Samaritan Ministry wasn't founded to just help people with a handout, but to participate in their liberation with the implied invitation that those we serve will participate in ours. My friends, this demands a level of passion, commitment, and vulnerability not found in many places. But Samaritan Ministry isn't just any place. We're a pioneering nonprofit in an area struggling with increasing socioeconomic segregation. Segregation widened by the disproportionate impact of the pandemic on our Black and brown brothers and sisters. Segregation between those of us who do very well and those of us who are just trying to get a toehold on a steep economic slope. Samaritan Ministry relies heavily on volunteers because we believe in mutual liberation, in a community partnership where everyone experiences for themselves the change they want to see in the world. Following Ben's segment, you'll hear from Ivy Kilby, a passionate volunteer from our Arlington office, who discovered a part of herself through the work. She'll testify to how it shaped her, fed her, and filled her life with a renewed sense of purpose, as well as the people around her. So when I speak of community partnership, I am speaking of how we cultivate change in ourselves and in the community at large. Our partnership is a community of communities that includes over 250 volunteers and 75 partner churches, schools, and service providers throughout Greater Washington. This is a collaborative network fully empowered to make a difference in the lives of our neighbors who simply seek a hand up. Not long ago, this collaboration generated a new vision that is moving us to a higher level of service, a level where a participant can virtually connect with us anywhere in the region, a level where our Strive job readiness training results not just in short-term job acquisition, but long-term vocational fulfillment, a level where we connect homeless adults living on the edge of poverty with an affordable and permanent home. And finally, a level where partners offer not only their time and treasure to support our individual change work, but also where we collectively invest in a mission of community change, one that includes dismantling the structures that allow socioeconomic segregation to continue and poverty to prosper in this region. Where are we? We've only just begun. And the best is yet to come, my friends. And the results are already coming. First, increased accessibility with virtual options, plus another location once the pandemic is behind us. Second, expanded hard skill employment training and placement options for all Strive training graduates. And third, direct pipeline partnership or integration of other service providers whose missions complement our own. With greater engagement expected once the pandemic is over, Next Step participants already have more options than they did before it began. It's a challenge, but the recipe is right. Rigorously compassionate coaching, plus proven training, plus access to opportunity equals the hand up our participants need in this overpriced, underserved, and yes, economically segregated region. Yes, results inspire, but I find our recipe to be the most inspiring because it reminds me that my liberation is found in welcoming the stranger, who is really our neighbor in disguise, temporarily stuck in life's ditch. Inspired by what you heard from Ben and Ivy, I ask you now to please consider what you can offer today from your talent and treasure. But also consider the possibility that by your offering, you will grow in ways you could never ask for or imagine. And what greater gift could you receive as you offer your own? Thank you for listening. Thank you for being the gifts that you are to each other, but especially to our would-be neighbor stuck in life's ditch, who is really you and me. Thank you. And now I give you our witnesses, Ben Morgan and Ivy Kilby.
Hello. How's everybody doing today? My name is Ben Morgan, and I am a participant on several different times over the course of 12 years for Samaritan Ministry. I was actually asked to speak once before 2009, and I'm so humbled to be here again, to be asked by Samaritan Ministry on 2 different occasions to speak for this Next Step breakfast. Well, let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm from Philadelphia, big family, raised in good schools, parochial schools, went to college, got my degree, always wanted to be an attorney. Back in 8th grade, that was my goal all the way back there. Like, that's what I wanted to do. Sometimes, your dreams, they dwindle. Sometimes your goals, get put on the back burner. And for me, that was a horrible thing. But I live with it, Here comes the children, here comes the jobs, and you just go about your way in life and you just try to make it the best way you can. For me coming up, we had to have faith in God because it was not uncommon for us to be at 3 different churches on Sunday. Started off in Catholic school, and my mom was AME. We were church-going, God-loving people. So that was always put into me, and I thank God for that, and I'm going to tell you why. I have a very bubbly personality. It's who I am, right? And I love being who I am. Sometimes I use that to cover up some serious pain. I've been through some things in life, and you just, people say, wow, you've been through that. You're still around, you survived. Well, I came from a big family. Like I said, it was 7 of us. My oldest brother has been incarcerated for 43 years. That's my oldest brother. Regardless of what he did, how he did it, it's irrelevant. He's been in there for 43, going on 44 years. Since he's been in there, we've lost 4 brothers. So it's just me, him, and a sister in Philadelphia left. I lost 2 brothers to drug addiction. I lost 1 brother to HIV. I lost another brother to violence. And I mean, these are my siblings. These are my brothers, and that pain goes deep. And when I got hurt back in 2006, busted this knee right here up in Philadelphia on some ice. And of course, next thing they give you is pain pills. They're your best friend. Hey, great, give me some more Percocets, and you love it, right? Then next thing you know, you get used to the Percocets. Next thing you know, they're not giving them to you. Next thing you know, you're on the streets looking for stuff that will assimilate it. And so I got into drug addiction, and I found myself homeless. And this was my first time coming through here. And I tell you something, man, the people here at Samaritan Ministries, I can't say enough about, okay? I have developed relationships with people who actually care, who actually encourage you, who actually stick with you. And we're spirits, we are mental, emotional, spiritual people. And the flesh is easy to see, but people hide things in the flesh. They hide their eyes. They smile when they want to cry. And it's not easy getting help. It's not easy crashing your whole life and then help me, please. There's a lot of people out there that'll help you, but how do they help you? Do they just give you handouts? Or are they really interested in your life and making it better? Well, that's what I've experienced here. And so many people, of course, David and Jeff and the Miss Sophia, but the one who really impressed me the most since I've been coming through here is Ben Girali. Nice young man, very nice young man. And, from the time he met me, he was tickled to death. He liked my personality. We just, and it was just like we just clashed and meshed at the same time. And he wanted to give me all these resources. He was interested in everything I did. I told him I was going back to school. And, I'm 60 years old, man, and I'm going back to school, trying to be a paralegal first and then a lawyer second. And it's not easy, got to get funding and all this other stuff. I've been talking to them about all of that. But the reality is the goal itself. The goal has come back. There's nothing that you can't tell me now that I can't do. Because how somebody helps you is important. When somebody crashes down, they don't need someone looking down on them. They need someone to help them look up. And that's what I've experienced here at Samaritan Ministries. They pick their people very wisely, and I can't say enough about that. Me, myself, like I said, I've been through so much in my life. I've written a book, though, recently about a lot of things. It comprises a whole lot of short stories and everything. And I'm happy. I'm a published author now. You could not have told me that would ever happen. But Ben Girali pushed me. Said, go, yes, Mr. Morgan, write that. You need to do that. Blah, 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 blah. That's a great idea. And I wasn't even published at that time, but he pushed. He said, yeah, you can do it this way. You can do it that way. And I just love his spirit. And when your spirit is hurting, you need good people with good spirits to bring it back up. And I just wanted to mention him because I'm so impressed with him, and I'm so happy that he has returned to Samaritan Ministry. Look, I tell you, a lot of people who are participants here have found themselves in different situations. And what we want most is to belong somewhere. We want to just feel like, once again, our lives matter. We have a place to go. We have something to do. We have people who will cheerfully help you, right? And I talked about the key situation because I tell you what, something as simple as keys, something as simple as keys. We all take them for granted, right? Keys, right? Well, for about 1.5 years of my life, when I'm down and out, when you're homeless, you don't have keys. When you don't have a car, you don't have keys. When you're not working, you don't have keys. And then all of a sudden, you find yourself you feeling like you don't belong anywhere. Well, today I have keys. I got my keys back, and the most important thing is I got the keys to life back. I appreciate life again. I think about my brothers all the time, and that's a painful, painful thing. Losing people that should be growing old with you. It makes you look at God a little bit differently. It makes you appreciate him waking you up and letting me see this beautiful day. I got keys today. Thanks because I asked the right people for help. I had the right heart, and the right people came and helped me, and they're still helping me. And I just thank God for all he has done for me, and I thank him for the people at Samaritan Ministries. Well, I just want to thank all you good people out there for supporting Samaritan Ministries and for listening to my story today. God bless you and have a wonderful day.
Hi, my name is Ivy Kilby. I'm a partner rep for Samaritan Ministry from St. Albans, Annandale. I'm also the front office coordinator at the Arlington office for Samaritan Ministry. And now I'm going to share my story as a volunteer at Samaritan Ministry at the Arlington office. On Samaritan Sunday in July 2019, I met David Wolf, the executive director, and Linda Cole, a participant and a member of the Speakers Bureau. On Samaritan Sunday, they came and David gave the sermon and talked to us about Samaritan Ministry. Now, I'd heard of Samaritan Ministry before because we prayed for them every Sunday in the prayers of the people. And that's about all I knew. They were great and we prayed for them. Well, many of you might not know this, and David is finding out today that he is a good fisherman. Because after he told us about Jesus speaking about the Good Samaritan, he introduced Linda Cole. And Linda told her story as a participant. And she shared a lot of information about herself, and many of it was about her struggle and about her successes and her transformations. But the struggling part seemed to really speak to me. She shared some information, and I found myself and my eyes connected with her throughout her time talking. It's painful talking about hard things, especially those certain struggles. It's like pulling that Band-Aid off time and time again, and it hurts. Like I said, my eyes met hers, and I realized that David was a good fisherman because I took the bait. I really listened, and I felt like very emotional when she was talking. And part of that reason is she shared her story of her struggle and of her light. And I was filled with emotion, and not a day goes by that I don't think about my own struggle. And that's because I lost my son Cameron to suicide. In August 2012, we lost Cameron. He had recently had his birthday with his identical twin brother. We never knew it was coming. There's no manual for grief. There's no rule book. But it's a process that we all go through. We all have large and small struggles. And this one affected everyone in our family. And affected those around us. Like everybody who struggles. It affects everyone around you, not just yourself. But I worked through my grief. That doesn't mean it's over. But I was again able to find joy and happiness in my life, and it's more manageable. That doesn't mean it's over, but it is more manageable. And I felt compelled to this ministry of Samaritan Ministry. I wanted to become actively involved and work with staff and the participants in this program. A little bit of my past is in the 90s, I worked in a program where I worked with adults who had disabilities, mental and physical disabilities, and some people had come out of addiction issues, and some were even returning citizens. I went to meetings. I met with David again. I met with Cy Jones, the volunteer manager. I met with Jennifer Seeger, the program director, and learned more about the inner workings of the office and the different locations. And Cy and Jennifer mentioned this thing called FOC, front office coordinator. Well, I thought I would be a caseworker. I thought that was a normal draw from my last job years ago. But Jennifer had said that's the kind of thing you learn on the job. So I said, okay, we'll see. Well, next thing I knew, changes were happening. On November 7th of 2019, I met Jane Bishop, then the volunteer lead caseworker at the Arlington office, and I was the front office coordinator. We'd never met. There we were that first day. We met the participants. They didn't know us. We didn't know them, but that all changed. Next thing I knew, it was the time for the gala. It was time for Christmas celebrations. St. Albans, Annandale did a great job with the Christmas party and meeting with participants and cleaning up and providing food. It was phenomenal. I was on kind of a volunteer high, so to say. Deacon Teresa, the deacon at our church at St. Albans, organized all that with other people from our church, and it was phenomenal. Well, then, it was time for the new year, 2020. We were hitting our stride. We were meeting with people, making connections, building trust with each other, and learning about each other's individual situations. Also came on board was Carter Eccles, and she's a former executive director of Samaritan Ministry. She's also a resident of Arlington. And we became, started like a friendship, a camaraderie in the office. And we even began praying at the end of each day, work day together. Well, then COVID hit. We learned terms like Zoom and pivot. And we stayed connected as a staff and as an organization because we had shut down for a short time. And like everyone else, being virtual online was the way it was going. But we even had meetings and training and conversation, and we reached out with other members of the other partner churches. And I really was feeling more like staff, which is what Samaritan wants you to feel like staff. So we came through the short shutdown. We moved business outdoors. We made porch connections. Some of you might remember me from photographs of me by the window. I'm the lady in the window with the table, with the phone. Participants were very respectful of our time. They were respectful of the precautions that had to be made with COVID and distancing and masks. And we were all going through this new scary situation together. They were very understanding about everything. During Lent, St. Alban stepped up again. We did a reading glasses and umbrella drive. And we were still staying connected with our church, with our participants, and with the organization. Then it got to be summer. Westmoreland sent us a wonderful intern, Sylvie Bailey, and she quickly came into the organization and really has done well with the staff. Again, my sense of fulfillment and purpose has been phenomenal. I really love this job, and my husband, Jim, even says you're getting energy. You get energy from this job, and you bring it home with you. I really do have a great sense of purpose with this position. And I know that we're making a difference with people, with their struggles and with their successes, and just with a human connection that many of us need, everyone needs. Another thing that's different for me is I'm making connections with people who have struggles that I've never, ever experienced. Food insecurity, housing insecurity. It's important to listen to people's issues and to try to help them. And I feel like I'm getting better at that, but I'm so glad that our organization is there to do that. So Samaritan's work continues. There is that light that is shining at the end of this tunnel. We will be opening, I know, soon with access to the vaccinations that's happening now. And, I don't call this my volunteer gig in Arlington anymore. I call it my job because that's what it feels like and that's what it is. Many times when Sylvie and Jane are out on the porch working with participants, at a safe distance, and another person walks up and needs help, I'm there doing my own level of casework to help out. So I'm getting there with my ultimate goal, and it's wonderful. I really love it. It's wonderful being connected to this intelligent, caring, compassionate group of people, and I really appreciate you listening to me tell my story. Thank you.
I would venture to say that having heard the words and experiences of Yamiche, David, Ben, and Ivy, no one doubts the critical role Samaritan Ministry plays in our community. 5 years ago, I attended my first Next Step breakfast. I was blown away, like I'm sure many of you were this morning, by the powerful connections among participants, staff, and volunteers. I made a financial pledge that day, and I also committed to volunteering once I retired. I started volunteering as a front office coordinator and later as a caseworker associate in July 2017. I've also helped plan several galas, as well as recently joined the development committee. Our central focus on transformative partnerships as a vehicle for change, much like the Good Samaritan and the man in the ditch, means a lot to me. Now more than ever, we need an organization like Samaritan Ministry. We need it to live into the parable of the Good Samaritan for the benefit of our neighbors, ourselves, and the greater Washington community. During the pandemic, our participants, staff, and volunteers have continued the work of transformation, one step at a time. We work with participants to get jobs, find housing, or take whatever next step are required to live a more vibrant, fulfilling life. Each person is greeted with warmth and respect and are valued for who they are. My role this morning is not to give a testimonial. My role is to provide an opportunity for all of us to back up the confidence we have in Samaritan with the financial resources that are necessary. It takes a tremendous amount of work to make this program happen. We have 15 full-time professional staff and hundreds of part-time volunteer staff who commit thousands of hours during the year. We have 5 locations throughout the region so that we can meet our participants in the neighborhoods where they live. As you can see, we need a lot of people's time, talent, and money to support this important work. So our goal this morning is for everyone to make a financial commitment to Samaritan that is consistent with where you are today and the resources that God has given you. I am pleased to let you know that our board of directors is all in, and every member of the board has already made a pledge for the year in advance of today's breakfast. As ambassadors for the organization, our board knows it's important to lead the way, and so they have. Specifically, our goal today is to pledge and give at least $300,000 collectively to support Samaritan in 2021. And thanks to our corporate sponsors who have already covered today's major expenses, everything you give will go directly to support Samaritan's work. To reach this goal, we need the following. Under the category of Go Big or Go Home, a gift of $100,000 or more. A pledge of $100,000 or more would truly take Samaritan's mission to the next level of which David spoke. Note that this level is not listed on the pledge form you will receive. Either write it in the blank and/or contact David or Development Director Jeff Hale if you are interested in giving at this level. Next, a gift of $50,000 or more. These first 2 levels are not in reach for everyone, but they are for some. And all it takes is for those folks to match their confidence they have in their own ability to generate abundance with the confidence we hope they have in Samaritan to carry out its mission. If you feel this is the time to put your resources to work for the empowerment of those we serve at these higher levels, again, please speak to David, Jeff, or me directly. Next, 6 gifts of $20,000 or more. We are delighted to announce that 3 donors who wish to remain anonymous have already made the commitment heading into today's breakfast. With these bold commitments in hand, we are asking at least 3 more of you to make a similar pledge of at least $20,000 to Samaritan this morning. If you can make that happen, the 3 of you will thus immediately double the membership of our Director's Circle for gifts of $20,000 or more. Third, we're asking other current givers to increase significantly what you gave in 2020 to Samaritan Ministry. Many of you are already committed supporters, but to reach our goal, we all need everyone to stretch. If you're a monthly sustainer like me, I'm inviting you to increase significantly your monthly gift for this year, as I am today, so that we can increase the number of participants that we reach in the coming year. Finally, we want new donors. For those of you who are meeting Samaritan for the first time, I hope that you have been inspired by the program and that Samaritan will become an important part of your faith journey. To do that, I invite each of you to make a personal, significant contribution, and if you are in a position to do so, pledge at least $1,000 for this year. So it's a big aspiration, but I'm sure we can do it. This year, we have had an extra incentive as it's Samaritan's 35th anniversary. If you're a first-time donor, consider an annual pledge of $1,986, just $165.50 a month. 1986 being the year that Samaritan was founded. Or, if you're a monthly donor, you might consider increasing your pledge by $35 a month in honor of our 35th anniversary this year. Whatever you decide, I thank you for your generosity and your commitment to join with us as we live into the next steps for each of our lives. As David mentioned earlier, he has a sign on his door attributed to Dr. Lila Watson, an Indigenous Australian artist and activist, that reads, If you have come to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come because your liberation is tied up with mine, let us work together. This embodies the life-changing work that I and many others have experienced, taking the next step with each other and our neighbors in need. I hope you are inspired to link your liberation with ours by making a significant commitment today. With that, I'll turn it over to Jeff, our development director, who will walk you through the pledge commitment form before we return to our virtual tables to make our commitments, with Yamiche finally sending us forth. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm back, as promised. Now, I know that my fundraising information this morning isn't nearly as interesting as the other stuff you've heard. I had a lot of explosions and pyrotechnics planned to try and make it more interesting, but they told me it just wasn't in the budget. So I'm just going to ask you to pay close attention. So here we go. The easiest way to make a pledge or a gift this morning is by using our secure text-to-give service, DP Text. Our number is 202-933-1920. Can we get a shot of it? There you go. Okay, let's keep that on the screen now if we can. Even though with all that wonderful technology, I know that some people still prefer good old-fashioned paper. Don't worry, we've got you covered. There is a pledge form that will be available through the general chat function on Remo when you get back to your virtual tables. For those watching on Facebook and YouTube, it'll be made available there too. You can download the form, print it out, complete it, and return it to us either by email or regular mail to the addresses provided at the bottom of the form. Now, back to the texting. We have two ways you can support us today using DP Text. First, if you'd like to make a gift or a pledge today, text the word NS Gift to 202-933-1920 and follow the prompts. If you're making a pledge, you'll be asked to make part of your gift today. You can also use this same form to becoming a monthly sustainer, just like Michelle was talking about. Again, that's NS Gift to 202-933-1920. You can also learn more about volunteering with Samaritan Ministry today. All you have to do is text NS Vol to 202-933-1920 and follow the prompts. Finally, you can also make a gift today online. If you'd like to do that, just go to our website, www.samaritanministry.org, and click on the Donate Now button, located in the top right portion of our homepage. We have online options for both one-time gifts and monthly pledges. But seriously, if I could be honest, the easiest way for you to make your gift this morning is by texting the word NS Gift to 202-933-1920. Thank you for joining us today and for helping to make our work in the community possible. Now for those on Remo, we'll all go back to our virtual tables for a few minutes so that you can check in with your table captains. For those on YouTube and Facebook, you'll be treated to a nice slideshow for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and Yamiche will close us out for the morning. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you all for joining us this Saturday morning. Thank you especially for your commitment of time, talent, and treasure. Special thanks to Ben Morgan and Ivy Kilby, who inspired us. Special thanks to Michelle Lewis Mutanzi for challenging us to give. Special thanks again to all of our Next Step Breakfast sponsors who collectively cover the cost of this morning's event so that all of our contributors support Samaritan's Next Step work 100%. Also I want to say sponsors listed on the front cover of the program booklet. Thanks to the performers of pre-event music, Samaritan's Development Director, Jeff Hale, as of course a mob of one, our table captain of table captains, Carol Coonrod, and all our table captains, staff, and volunteers who made today's breakfast possible. Thank you so much.
And please join me in giving it up for our fabulous MC, Yamiche Alcindor. Thank you.